Thanks for coming, everybody. I'm going to be reading from a prepared statement, and then I'll be happy to take some of your questions. I'm a gay man and a child abuse victim. Between the ages of 13 and 16, two men touched me in ways they should not have. One of those men was a priest. My relationship with my abusers is complicated by the fact that at the time, I didn't perceive what was happening as abusive. But I can look back now and see that it was. I still don't view myself as a victim, but clearly I am one. Looking back, I see the effects that this had on me. In the years after what happened, I fell into alcohol and nihilistic partying. It lasted well into my 20s. A few years ago, I realized it was time to do something good with my life. I started focusing on work, but the black comedy, the gallows humor, and the love of shock value I developed in my 20s never really went away. I've reviewed the tapes that appeared a few days ago in the proper context, and I don't believe that they say what is being reported. Nonetheless, I do say some things on the tapes that I do not mean, and which do not reflect my views. My experiences as a victim led me to believe that I could say almost anything on this subject, no matter how outrageous. But I understand that my usual blend of sassy, gay British sarcasm, provocation, and gallows humor might have come across as flippancy. A lack of care for other victims, or even worse, as seems to have been the case in reports, advocacy. I'm horrified by that impression. I would like to restate my disgust at adults who sexually abuse minors. I'm horrified by pedophilia, and I have devoted large portions of my career to exposing child abusers. I've exposed 3 of them in my reporting, which is 3 more than most of my critics. I've repeatedly expressed disgust at pedophilia in my feature and opinion writing, and I was also the first journalist in the UK to ask, after Jimmy Savile's death, whether the real story of his rampant child abuse would ever be told. My professional record is very, very clear. But I do understand that the videos that you have seen, even though some of them were deceptively edited, paint a different picture, and I am partly to blame for that. I do not advocate for illegal behavior. I explicitly say in the tapes, in a section that was cut from the footage that you've seen, that I think the age of consent currently is about right. I do not believe that any change in the legal age of consent is justifiable or desirable. I don't believe that sex with 13-year-olds is okay. When I mentioned the number 13, I was talking about myself and the age that I lost my virginity. It can strike some Americans as unusual or strange, but my mother's native Germany, the age of consent is 14. We have a different approach to these things sometimes in Europe. I shouldn't have used the word boy. Gay men often use boy or girl to mean men of consenting age. But I understand how heterosexual people may not have realized that, and that was an error. I was, in fact, talking about my own relationship when I was 17 with a man who was 29. The age of consent in the UK is 16. I did say that there are relationships between older gay men and younger gay men that can help the younger gay man escape from a lack of support or understanding at home. That's perfectly true, and every gay man knows it. I'm certainly guilty of imprecise language, which I regret. And anyone who suggests, however, that I turn a blind eye to illegal activity or to the abuse of minors is unequivocally wrong. I'm implacably opposed to the normalization of pedophilia, and I will continue to report and speak accordingly. To repeat